Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Thomas Van Kampen once again, here with another episode of Let's Animate. And I've been up to quite a bit since I've made my last episode, which was, again, months ago. Anyway, so I've been up to all sorts of things, like I just said 5 seconds ago. God, it's been a while. I've been doing Hangouts with Failure Accomplished and other guys, other YouTubers. Most of the time, I don't get really involved in the conversations, except for that one time where we just talked about animation a bunch and we accidentally left Jim out of that conversation. Sorry, Jim. Um, but yeah, regardless, I have a good time. I like everybody I encounter, and not to mention, I end up doing like pretty decent collabs as well as paid commission work for people who like my skills as an artist and animator. Recently, I did the avatar art for Confused Canuck. I'll put a link in the description to his channel as well as somewhere on the screen. He's a pretty nice guy. He makes sort of these like rant and response videos to all sorts of like political debates and stuff like that. He's a pretty cool, well-informed guy who I don't necessarily agree with all the time on the kind of conversations he has, but he's pretty swell. He treats me well. He treated me well when I was making his art for him. So yeah, he's a great guy, and I'm happy to collaborate with him. Anyway, so I don't even remember what I was making when I left off. What I will tell you is that my demo reel is officially finished. It's color corrected and everything. I have it up on my channel already, which is pretty cool. And that'll be viewed by more people on Friday at this screening that my school's doing. So that's pretty neat. I also just got back from this weekend when I was doing a 48-hour animation challenge. The premise of that contest was to try and create some sort of cartoon that within 2 days straight. So you only have 48 hours to make it in. Once those 48 hours are up, you're completely done. You can't do anything else. And my idea for that was to make a music video for a musician friend of mine. And I'll put a link to his website in the description. He's a pretty good guy. I knew him in high school, and he is a pretty talented musician, if I do say so myself. I wanted to make a music video for him, but it turns out 48 hours is significantly less time to make something than I initially thought it would be. I know, quite a shock, right? I mean, I of all people should know how long animation takes. Um, and it's regardless of that, I did make it like a quarter length compared to what I actually wanted it to be, so it's only like a minute long and only showcases like a minute of the song. But it's still pretty good, and it's got a lot of loop weaving and bright colors and stuff. It's pretty good. So yeah, that's also going to be screening on this upcoming Friday, May 20th, 27th rather. And I don't know if I'll upload it to my channel, cause I'm gonna be honest with you guys, it's some of my crudest work. I've never had that much of a time crunch before, so I couldn't exactly be, very clean in a lot of my transitions and in a lot of my walk cycles and whatnot. So, I had to go pretty rough, and I had to settle for, subpar animation in certain bits. So just for that reason, I'm considering not uploading it. But you guys can let me know in the comments if you really want to see that. If you do want to see it, just know that I don't consider it to be my best work. I consider it to be the best I can do within 48 hours. So keep that in mind when you judge it. Anyway, so you're probably wondering what I'm doing for this video now and what I'm going to be making. Now that my demo reel is finished, I noticed in a post that my animation school did that the Toronto Film Festival is coming up for 2016. And basically, it's just an animation film festival where you submit your own animation that's a minute long and is a silent film. So I found out that I have until July to submit it. So I was like, you know what? I could probably make something really quick and just for the hell of it, submit that. And I had this idea for a short film, a short silent film, that's kind of comedic and kind of dark called Mime Wars. And basically, it's like a noir mafia movie, where the joke is that everybody's a mime. And so everybody expresses their emotions through these crazy stage poses, and nobody actually holds like physical objects. They all like shoot with invisible submachine guns, and they uh, they drive around in these cars that aren't there because they're mimes. That's what they do. And every time it's implied that they're saying something, like a title card comes up. Um, I think that would be really funny. And even though like they're shooting Tommy guns that aren't there, like there's still flashes coming out of the guns. And when it cuts to other mimes, like you can clearly see bullet holes popping up in there. I think this would be a really funny thing. I don't know where exactly I'm going with it in terms of the narrative. I just want it to be like really goofy visuals. That's kind of like a very dark sense of humor. This is probably like the darkest, most, I'm going to say off color, and that can be taken literally when you find out about how this is going to look. It's like very off color humor for what I typically do. But yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's probably and hopefully it'll get a couple of laughs. And if I don't reach the deadline for whatever reason for the Toronto Film Festival, and I end up finishing it anyway, I'll probably upload it to YouTube because it's work. I might as well use it for something. So yeah. And here's the kind of art style I'm going for this one. I like challenging myself with different kinds of art styles and whatnot. I wanted this to be like a noir film, so it's going to be working very much with blacks and whites and like really dark shading. It's not going to be too colorful, except with like pops of red and yellow and stuff like that. It's going to look very like Sin City-ish, and that's the main art style influence that's going to be driving this cartoon. It's going to be black and white, heavy shadows, uh, good use of negative space. And I'm also going to be using different brushes from what I usually do. I typically stick, for the last few projects that I've been doing, I've been sticking to the basic black brush, which it's the typical tool, so it works perfectly fine. But I wanted to make something a bit more visually interesting and a bit out of the norm for what I typically do. So I'm using things like the marker tool and the chalk tool that kind of gives it that chalk texture that you're seeing on screen here. My computer's lagging a little bit, so that's why I stop every now and then. But yeah, I think that'll create a really neat, like, kind of misty color effect. Uh, and I think this will be a really interesting crude thing. It will be quite crude, because I do draw like the buildings and stuff like that quite quickly, and everything will end up looking pretty rough. But I think that will be part of the charm, just how rugged it sort of looks, which is a lot like what Frank Miller does in his art style, hence the Sin City influence. Um, and yeah, I'm quite excited for this one. I think this one will be really funny. It'll be like kind of weird and unexpected, and hopefully it'll be entertaining. So yeah, that's pretty well it for this project. I don't have much of anything else planned, although what I will tell you is I haven't done anything else for it quite yet. I do have episode 3 of the Peacock, the script for it written. And I will be looking for voice actors in the near future, but just know that I'm not committing to that just yet. I do still have priorities. I'm going to put that all together when I know for sure that I have the time and don't need to be occupying myself with anything else. So yeah, I think that's all I'm going to cover for this episode. I don't have much else to say. thank you guys so much for sticking around with me and checking in on what I'm going to be doing. I hope to upload more stuff for you guys in the future, and I hope to keep entertaining you guys. So thanks for watching. I'll see you later.